Hello students, we are going to discuss about the very first chapter of your science, that is crop production and management. What is the meaning of crop? When plants of same kind are grown and cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called crop. Types of crops. Number 1 is your kharif crops and rabi crops. Kharif crops, the crops which are sown in rainy season, are kharif crops, or we can say in other words, the crops which require lot of water for its growth are called kharif crops. Examples: paddy, maize, soyabean, groundnut, cotton, etc. Rabi crop, the crops grown in the winter season are called rabi crops, and these crops can grow in a less amount of water also. For example, wheat, gram, pea, mustard, linseed, etc. Basic practices of crop production. How the crops can be grown? There are several practices, step by steps, to get a proper crop. Number 1 is preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizers, irrigation, protecting from weeds, harvesting and storage. Number 1, preparation of soil. Preparation of soil is the first step in cultivating a crop for food production. It requires 3 steps, that are ploughing. The process of loosening and turning the soil is called ploughing or tilling. It is done with the help of a plough, hoe, or a cultivator attached to bullocks or tractor. Second, leveling. The ploughed soil is quite loose, so it is liable to be carried away by strong winds or washed away by rainwater. Thus, the ploughed soil is labelled by pressing it with a wooden or an iron leveler so as to prevent soil erosion. Third, manuring. Manuring means adding manure to the soil. Sometimes manure is added to the soil before ploughing. Addition of manure to soil before ploughing helps in proper mixing of manure with the soil. Manuring helps in better yield of soil. Sowing. The process of scattering or putting seeds into the ground is called sowing. Before sowing, good quality seeds are selected. Good quality seeds are clean and healthy, free from infection and diseases. There are 2 methods of sowing seeds: sowing by hand and sowing with a seed drill. Sowing with a seed drill is considered better than sowing with hand because the seeds are in irregular rows. It saves time and labor. Adding manure and fertilizers. Repeated growing of crops in the same field removes a lot of precious mineral elements, organic matter, and other materials from the soil. The deficiency of plant nutrients and organic matters in the soil is made up of by adding manuring and fertilizers to the soil. Now here is a basic difference between manures and fertilizers. A manure is a natural substance obtained by the decomposition of animal waste like cow dung and human waste and animal residue. Manure can be prepared in the fields. A manure provides a lot of organic matter like humus to the soil. On the other hand, fertilizers. A fertilizer is a salt or an organic compound. Fertilizers are prepared in factories. A fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil. Irrigation. All the crop plants need water for their growth. It is therefore necessary to supply water to the crop plant in the fields periodically. The process of supplying water to crop plants in the fields is called irrigation. Irrigation requirements of crops depends upon the nature of the crop, nature of the soil and season. Sources of irrigation are rivers, canals, wells, tubewells, dams, ponds and lakes. Traditional method of irrigation are moth, that is pulley system, rahat, lever system, third klee, fourth chain pump. Modern methods of irrigation are sprinkler system and drip system. Now next step is removing the weeds, that is known as weeding. The unwanted plants which grow along with the cultivated crop are called weeds. The process of removing weeds from a crop field is called weeding. The best time for the removal of weed is before they produce flowers and seeds. The various methods of weeding are removal of weeds by pulling them out with hand, removal of weeds by using a trowel, destroying the weeds by spraying special chemicals called weedicides. Harvesting. The cutting and gathering of the matured food crop is called harvesting. It is done either by hand using a sickle or by motorized machines called harvester. The last step is storage of food grains. The practice or means of keeping grain until it is sold or used is called storage. The last scale storage of food grain is done in gunny bags and in grain silos.